Normally, I would start with a sketch or like a little skit or whatever you want to call it of me as good old Mikey going around, maybe stomping on some watermelon heads, having some fun, but... Stab. I've been going back and forth on that with my reviews because I want to bring back the little skits and stuff. I think they're fun, but I really only enjoy doing them when I like movies. You know, like when I leave the movie excited and I'm like, oh, this was really creative. I have an idea for something creative and fun to do with this. With Halloween Ends, I feel none of that. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a spoiler review. The movie's been out for a little bit. I'm assuming you've seen it. If you haven't, spoiler-free section right here. I hated this movie. I cannot believe how much I don't like this movie. This is the new Brightburn for me, except it's worse because Brightburn didn't have multiple movies I liked leading up to it.
I would like to say, for the spoiler-free section, that this is one of the worst movies I have ever spent my time watching, and I watched all of the Saw movies.
Yeah. And look, there's tons of stuff I love that people don't love. Like, I love the Transformers movies. I know they're schlock or crap or whatever you want to say. Like, they're just popcorn movies. Fine. I still really enjoy them.
This isn't a popcorn movie, though.
No, I didn't get any enjoyment from this movie. And in the spoiler-free section, I will say here, too, if you like this movie, I'm more than happy for you. I'm sure there will be people mad that I didn't like the movie. People really hardcore, like, will latch on to something they like and get really upset when other people don't like it. I'm just not like that. So if you enjoyed this movie, that's completely fine. In fact, I wish I were you. I talked to Nate about this a little bit. He really liked the movie. I don't know how. I'm interested to hear more of his in-depth thoughts tomorrow when I spend time with him.
Personally, I was glad that we didn't spend the tons of money that it would have taken to go to AMC or like another actual theater and sit down and watch it in theaters.
Yeah, we streamed the movie.
Yeah, because we don't usually do that, but we missed it when it came to theaters, and I wanted to watch it on Halloween. And wow, am I glad we didn't spend that money.
Yeah, we watched it on Halloween, and I loved Kills, by the way. So Kills is written very unevenly, but I enjoy it for what it is.
I thought it was great.
That is absolutely a popcorn movie. You know, it's one of those movies that you go into. I think the original 1979 is very well written. It's a very well written exploration of like fear and stalking and unexplainable events and sort of things that feel paranormal, but they might not be. And it's left very open-ended. And 2018 and Kills, I think, follow that up. Maybe they're not at the cinematic horror masterpiece levels of the original, but they're very fun, and I thought they respected the source material and were good.
I was gonna say, the first 3 movies, you expect to go into a slasher, and you come out having watched a slasher and gotten something out of it. This one reminded me of one of those Lifetime movies that they put on at Christmas, where it's like they're trying really hard to be Hallmark, but it's very obviously written by like some 15-year-old from Wattpad, but then it takes like a really weird twist and you're like, what the fuck did I just see?
Yeah, and I also, to add on here, if Jill sounds different at all, you had to get 4 wisdom teeth taken out that should have come out years ago.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
There might be a tiny little lisp or something going on, just throwing that out there, but because you sound slightly different than you did before, which will change as you heal. You're kind of like, you're the aftermath of the scene in Halloween 2018 where he drops the teeth over the bathroom stall. Those could have been Jill's teeth with how big they were.
They were, actually. Those were like my teeth.
Full-grown man teeth.
That was my cameo in that movie.
But I think we should move into spoiler section. I walked away from this upset, frustrated, and maybe I was too invested. Maybe I was too invested because I loved 79. I didn't like Halloween 2, by the way, like those follow-ups in the original timeline. I wasn't really a fan of that. I wasn't really a fan of the other timelines that they tried to do. I always really liked the first movie, and then when 2018 came out, and I thought it was a competent, mostly well-written film.
For a sequel.
That did a lot of really interesting stuff, and then Kills came out, and it produced, at the very least, some of my favorite scenes in the Halloween movies, especially the ending of Kills, which I'll say you probably saw if you're watching this, like with Michael versus the mob and stuff. When they did that kind of stuff, I thought that this would be left in good hands. But my main criticism going into spoilers is that this movie is not about Michael Myers. This, to me, I didn't piece this together
until... Movie This movie also wasn't scary, by the way.
No, it's depressing.
All the others were.
I didn't piece this together, Jill, until I went on Reddit, of all places, after watching the movie, and somebody said, this feels like a point-by-point ripoff of It, but with none of the heart. They said something like that, and I was like, you know what? That's true, because this movie is very much, it's trying to build on the ideas of Kills, of like, Michael Myers and his fear and anger and hatred or whatever, or emotionlessness killing, whatever you want to call it, that sort of poisons the town. People are afraid. They're killing themselves. They're killing each other. The hysteria
around him.
Yes. They tried to build on that, but they only went with the hysteria. There was no Michael element to this movie really at all. In fact, I would be surprised if Michael Myers is on screen for more than 5 to 7 minutes.
The thing with it is that movie, or both of those movies, are mostly about the kids and like the main characters, and then Pennywise is just kind of this mystical thing that like you see mostly in jump scares until the end of the movie. You know, it's mostly about the heart behind the movie and the people. And it's like they tried to do that with this one, but a lot of times you just didn't care enough about a lot of the people except for Allison and Laurie.
This started with a really interesting concept, by the way.
I was really excited for it. I was really invested. Because it starts out with this guy named Corey.
And he's in the house, by the way.
Yeah, and
not the White House.
This absolute shithead of a child locks him in the attic and is like picking on him, is acting like Michael Myers is gonna get him.
This kid is a sociopath, by the way. I'm sure not the actor, but the character. What happens to this kid? I don't want to say that, like, I enjoyed watching a child die, because I feel like maybe that would make me sound psycho, but I will say I felt no remorse for it.
So, like, brief summary, he ends up knocking down the door to the attic, and it's a very tall building, like, I'm talking, like, 3 stories, and it's
no one needs a house this
staircase. Big. And the door hits the kid in the face, and he falls over the railing and falls 3 stories and snaps his neck.
Yep, the kid locks the guy in the attic. The guy pushes his way out of the door. He doesn't know the kid's on the other side. And the door hits him, kills him. Well, just like you said. And then the parents blame him. And he basically becomes this social pariah outcast. And this is, by the way, one of my biggest problems with the movie. The first 30 to 40 minutes actually just made me sad.
Well, like, here's the thing. It starts out with the first 5 minutes being extremely edgy. And I actually liked that part. I thought it was fun. And I felt for Corey because, like, he was just a teenager. He never wanted to hurt anybody. He was a good kid.
He just wanted to be in the house.
And it was really interesting when, you know, he started to fall in love with Allison, and it kind of seemed like these 2 social outcasts who had been picked on by this entire town, you know, kind of tried to find each other. And I thought that it was going to take a really interesting route, and Corey meets Michael Myers and, like, looks into his eyes and kind of starts getting a little bit weird, and when he starts killing with Michael, I kind of thought, like, oh, okay, this movie is going to take a turn. It's going to be something really interesting, you know, it's going to be like a team up between him and Michael. You know, I wasn't expecting it to end up the way it did.
No.
It was very upsetting.
I genuinely think I hated the movie, and it felt like a waste of time. I was actually on board with Corey, but most of the movie focused on being depressing and not scary, and Michael wasn't a focus. He's actually treated as an afterthought throughout the movie.
He's not in the movie, like, almost at all. He kills 3 people total, I'm pretty sure.
And every single new interesting idea that was introduced, like Corey, or like a team up with Michael Myers, or Michael Myers infecting this person.
With
like,
evil.
Instead of just the town. Like, this person, Michael just lets them go. And how does that affect this person? Now all of a sudden they feel like, well, Michael killed, you know, hundreds of people or whatever. Yeah, I have this connection with him. And then Michael is a little bit weakened in this movie, which is a problem we're going to get into as well. But then you have sort of this dynamic build between these 2 characters where you're thinking, oh, this is going to be a little bit of a passing of the torch, kind of like when you find there have been cases in history where there's a serial killer who takes a protege, who takes someone under them who, like, idolizes them and wants to be like them, because Corey's this person, like you said, social outcast, terrified of everyone, gets jumped by a bunch of teenagers, which again is another problem I have. Everyone in this movie is a sociopath.
And unlikable.
Everyone. Outside of maybe Allison. Allison's like the one, even Laurie's a little bit unlikable in this movie.
You know, I kind of thought it was going to take the route of the Joker movie, where, like, these bad things keep happening over and over to Corey, and he starts out as a good person, but he's obviously mentally ill, and eventually he just snaps.
And it seems like it kind of did, but then it didn't.
But then it didn't end up as well written or as interesting as Joker did.
Right. Yeah,
You can finish reading your tweets, by the way.
No, that was pretty much it. I wanted to summarize them. I don't want to be the pretentious guy who says, I'm going to review the movie on YouTube. Now let me read my whole review from Twitter. I just really wanted to hit a couple of those points because, like you said, you know, I didn't even see the comparison to Joker, but you're right. Mm-hmm. It's sort of this, they wanted to use the town poisoning and the evil poisoning the town and all this stuff.
Those interesting themes,
which
by the way.
were interesting from Kills, to me at least. Mm-hmm. But they removed the Michael element. Now,
they emasculated him.
Yeah, one of my biggest problems is that Michael is the world's weakest individual in this movie. I don't know what happened. I'm sure that the explanation that they're trying to go with is, no, see, he's just a guy. Like, he survived, but he's in really bad shape after what happened to him at the end of Kills.
But they went with him being supernatural in the last movie.
Yeah, you can't do that because a man couldn't survive that. Like,
no.
So just off the top of my head, he could maybe survive what happened in 79.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
He did get shot multiple times, so probably not. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Then between 2018 and Kills, if you include those two, he's shot multiple times.
He's burned alive.
Burned alive. Multiple fingers are blown off by a shotgun. He gets stabbed a few times. He gets stabbed with a pitchfork. His head gets beaten in by a bat. He gets curb stomped 35 times by a mob at the end of Kills. And he gets up and kills all of them.
Yeah! Unless he is the best self-operating surgeon in the entire history of the universe.
He's like Jack the Ripper, but on himself. He's like very quickly fixing it manually.
Or he's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how just a man could survive that. And Wolverine's
that's the problem.
Not even just a man.
Then he wouldn't just be a man. That's why it doesn't make any sense. And look, we're willing to suspend our disbelief. Like, we're already willing to just accept, like, listen to us. We're willing to accept
that he's like a demon.
This guy is like borderline supernatural.
Yeah. I'm willing to accept that.
And he just is.
I find it to be an interesting thing. Like, you know, maybe this kid was born and, like, you know, a demon infected Michael Myers or something weird.
There was just something
happened.
Inhuman about him, which is what Sartain always said. It was that he wasn't human. You look in his eyes, it's not human eyes looking back at you, it's a monster. But then the end of this movie is trying to say, like, no, he was just a man the whole time, but it doesn't even feel like it connects at all to the rest of the movies, because he's just chilling in the sewer. They say that he pulls people in occasionally.
Pennywise.
Yeah, like Pennywise randomly. He pulls people in occasionally and kills them. He happens to pull in this one dude, doesn't kill him, then that guy slowly loses it. I'll accept all of this.
He has, like, Michael's eyes in him now.
But then, after all of this, our kitties are meowing out there. Cosmo and Luna are meowing. After all of this, they throw all of it out, because they throw him out, like they throw his protege out. They just kill them both off. Laurie barely has a final confrontation with Michael, even though they act like the movie is building to it or building to moving on.
It was the lamest thing ever, by the way,
and
that final confrontation.
Allison's just kind of there, again. Which, like, why waste Allison? She was such a fun character.
They also wasted Corey. I thought some of these elements were interesting, of, like, Corey losing his mind, wanting to skip town, and then starting to kill a bunch of people. I thought it was stupid that he stole Michael's mask and didn't just kill them with Michael.
Yeah, why did he turn on Michael? I still don't get that.
I don't
he was
get
like,
that
you
either.
got something I need. And then he took it like the mask would give him, like, power of the myth or something. But what are we doing here?
I don't know. But I thought it was interesting that they tried to pull some of these themes together by, like, him, like, Corey saying to Allison, oh, you know, I want to burn this whole town down. And then he burns the radio tower thing that he told her was really important to him, and then she kind of realizes, oh, he's lost his fucking mind. Like, I thought that was an interesting theme, and that was one of the only well-written parts of the movie that I found to be interesting. And same with the beginning, is, like, these two broken people starting to fall in love. And then the rest of it was just a crapshoot. It was like everything just got worse and worse and worse until I felt unsatisfied, unhappy. It made me like all of the other movies less.
Yeah, it feels like it trivializes the other films, because it doesn't just not make sense, like, how did Michael survive all that, but now he doesn't survive this, but also by emasculating him, by making him uninteresting, by making him
weak
just an afterthought that's weak, and making him not matter, and the only reason he comes out of the sewer is to go after his mask, and then he just gets killed anyway.
Yeah, in, like, a dumb way, by the way, because he's able to survive multiple stabbings in all the other movies, so why is being stabbed here the thing that kills him?
I just don't understand why they went this route, and you know what? There's almost no interesting cinematography in this movie either, I will say. So, like, the other movies, they have very interesting shots an interesting composition with, like, the film and how they do things with, like, coloring.
And when Michael shows up and is just standing there and the music from 1979 plays.
Yeah, or how they'll show Michael, like, in the reflection of a knife, or they'll show someone in the reflection of a knife, or they'll show, you know, like, in 2018, they showed him up in a building, like, up in a house, and Laurie sees him, and you can kind of tell he might be in a mirror, but you can't tell if you look close, so she shoots him, and then it's a mirror, right? Mm-hmm. And that falls. Stuff like that was interesting shots. Or the really interesting and fun kill when he goes after the babysitter, and she's trying to shut his closet door, and it's hitting something, and then she opens it, and it's just Michael there, and he just destroys her. Like, stuff like that. That was all fun and interesting.
It seemed like they had an amateur doing this movie, because they had things like that. Like, they had a shot of Corey just standing there with some of the music playing.
Or when he got grabbed in the sewer. That was a shot like that. That was an interesting shot.
They had a shot where the guy in the radio station is about to be killed, and Corey is wearing the Michael Myers mask, and you see him in the reflection of the window walking up behind that man. You know, but it was very amateur, and it wasn't scary. It was just kind of boring and depressing.
I have no hatred for anyone who made this movie. It really frustrates and pisses me off how it turned out, because to me, I love the Halloween movies, like the new timeline. Or at least I did. I bought the original movie. I bought the Steelbook for it. I bought the Steelbook for 2018. I bought the Steelbook for Kills. I love all of them. I was really excited, actually, to find that a couple weeks ago at Best Buy, because it had sold out forever, and I didn't want to pay $100 on eBay.
Last year, around Halloween time, we went to see that movie. And
it was 2 years ago. It was 2021, actually. I guess it was last year.
It was last year. Yeah, and it was really fun. It was one of my favorite experiences we've ever done together. And I guess it just also really disappointed me that, like, that was one of the first movies we went to see together when I moved here. And now, you know, this year, the next one came out, and it's just terrible. And it throws everything in the face from the last movie, because the last movie had the theme of, you know, he's a monster, he's more than a man, he's more than that.
He keeps getting back up no matter what.
And I thought that was really cool and really interesting, and I was so excited to see what they do next.
I felt like it was a well-written version of what Friday the 13th tried to be later on.
And then they fucked it up.
Yeah.
They dropped the ball completely. They got the most amateur Wattpad writer I've ever seen in my life, and they wrote it like probably in like 2 days, and they were like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great, we're gonna have a sex scene, we're gonna have love, it's gonna be forbidden romance, we're gonna have a couple of people die, and then we're gonna have Michael Myers die, because like I actually wanted to write like a fanfic, but I didn't want Michael Myers in it, but I have to throw him in here as an afterthought.
I'm gonna tell you right now, there was one scene in the movie I enjoyed.
What?
Actually, two.
Which
one was when Corey gets pulled into the sewer, and Michael grabs him and looks in his eyes, and he's holding him there.
I liked that scene, too.
And then he doesn't die, and he gets out, he's like, what the fuck happened? You know, all that stuff, right? It's immediately undermined by him randomly killing a homeless man, because, like, I don't know why that guy was there, or what the hell his problem was.
Or why he ended up stabbing him so many times. Yeah,
that was a little bit, like, of an undermined scene, because it just felt like it went off the rails immediately, but before that, it was great. And then the other scene I loved was him in his stupid-ass scarecrow mask, killing those people, and Michael helping him. That was great. See,
I loved that scene,
I was really interested in seeing a movie where Michael sort of, like, infects this person. Believe it or not, this sounds like what the curse of Michael Myers kind of wanted to be again. I'm not to relate this just to other movies, where you have, like, this supernatural-type curse element, and it can, like, kind of touch other people around it and spread evil and stuff.
I think it would have been cool if he infected other people as well, and a lot of other people started being a lot like Michael Myers, and it was like a curse.
And that's what it seemed like it was going to be, because it was, you know, you had that element in 2018 in Kills where the fear and the anger and the hysteria around Michael, and they even hint at maybe something more, was turning the town in on itself. And at the beginning of this, they start the same way with suicides, murders, all this stuff. But you know what?
A lot of the people in the town acted like Michael Myers didn't matter, though, even though it was only 4 years ago that he terrorized the entire town. It was borderline a terrorist attack.
Yeah, mass murder.
4 years later, everybody's like, Michael Myers, who cares?
It would genuinely be like if Columbine happened, but they reopened the school the next day and just said whatever.
And then everybody made jokes about Dylan and Eric.
It was genuinely like mass murder insanity that happened over the course of the previous two movies. I could see them kind of forgetting about it and moving on over 40 years from the original. He only killed like maybe 5, 6, 7 people. I don't remember how many. But after you see like all the stuff he does in those previous movies, that's what really undermines this, is then when you try and go back to, no, he's just a guy, he doesn't really matter that much, now let's throw him in a wood chipper. It genuinely felt like an insult.
That was the worst ending.
So this felt to me like if I hated Game of Thrones and then they let me write the final 3 episodes just ruin it.
So you took everybody's favorite characters and just gave them the worst deaths possible that didn't even fit their character.
Because I just didn't like it.
Just because fun.
It actually felt to me actively like the people who made Halloween Ends didn't like any of the 3 previous Halloween movies in this series.
And they didn't like Michael, so they didn't want to write him in the movie, but they had to.
Yes. Like he shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, like he wasn't supposed to be there.
I don't know if I can describe... Genuinely, yes, Jill. I don't know if I can describe my hatred of the movie better than you just did.
Yeah.
It's like Michael Myers was not supposed to be in the movie, but the studio mandated he had to be, so they wrote him in.
Yeah, it seemed like it was supposed to be a different movie.
Like a movie just about a guy who gets fucked. Not
like a Joker
not in a good
thing.
way. And then he slowly devolves. You know what's crazy is every element you see in this movie, it feels like it's stolen from somewhere else. Joker or It. Yeah. It feels like this is Joker mixed with It, mixed with Halloween Kills.
Mixed with maybe some of the Friday 13th a little bit.
But they're all written by like a 15-year-old kid.
And they're overly gory and edgy.
No offense to anyone who's 15 years old, but like, come on, you're going to be a better writer when you get older. That's all I'm saying.
It was really overly gory and edgy, though. Like, there wasn't like so much gore that it was disgusting, like the Saw movies, but there was this one part with this man in the radio station where, like, Corey cuts off his tongue and then puts it on the record player, and, like, it's, like, going around the record player and stopping the record and stuff like that, and it's just disgusting, and it's like, why did I need to see him cut off his tongue? Like, I don't... It was
such a bizarre, random thing to put in there,
It was a random scene, yeah.
And I don't understand why you'd want to go this route. You have a guaranteed moneymaker with Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about this. You could have very easily done this same thing, and at the end you could have, written it better. And at the end you could have either had Michael use Corey, kind of like for what he wanted, and then he's killed off and he's gone. Whatever. That's fine. And you could have written him up better, given him more scenes, more kills throughout the movie.
Killed Laurie way earlier.
Then once he's done with his storyline, Michael kind of just discards him. Because that's what Michael does. He moves through the town, he moves through areas, he poisons them with fear and anger and distrust and hatred. He ruins the people there. They turn on each other and destroy the place.
Like a force of nature.
Yes. But instead of doing that, you emasculate him, turn him into a joke. The writing was terrible. I don't know how to better sum that up because I feel like I'm just talking in circles at this point. This is the first movie I can think of in years I left mad.
Yeah.
Because I just felt so let down. You guys have no idea how little time I get to enjoy things. And this sounds depressing or like, oh, poor me. But literally, I work my ass off so much, so many hours, that to sit down and watch this movie for 2 hours to me...
We were really excited.
...is a treat. That's something I want to enjoy and have a good time with. That's probably why I'm also able to see the positives in a lot of things people don't like. Is because I only have so much time and so many movies and stuff. But this, I walked away so deflated and upset, and I genuinely just feel like the whole movie was a waste of my time. I don't feel like anyone really progressed. I feel like Corey was kind of. I feel like Michael regressed by 500,000 steps into just a shell of himself.
But it didn't really matter that Corey progressed because he got murdered anyway.
And it didn't matter that Michael did anything because Michael just randomly died. The movie might as well have not happened. Nothing happens in the movie. Nothing.
No, nothing. You didn't miss anything if you didn't watch it. Like, literally, we were... more than an hour in. The movie's only an hour and 50 minutes. And you were like, there's only a half hour left of this movie. And Michael hasn't even really shown up more than, like, for 2 seconds. Yeah. And I kind of realized that, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Wait a minute. And I was a little bit pissed off about that.
Yeah, it's not a Michael Myers movie. I don't know why he's in the movie. It spits in the face of kills.
It really spat in the face of everything.
Well, yeah, but especially Kills. The ending that Kills sets up is just completely thrown out the window. This, to me, it feels like... I hate to do this, but it feels like how disjointed the sequel trilogy is for Star Wars. It feels like somebody had an idea with the first one, Somebody else came in and said, okay, whatever, I'll use some elements of that, but I want to take it my own way with the second one. Mm-hmm. And then it feels like somebody else came in and was like, no,
let's just redo all that.
No, we're going this way. Like, it's like a zigzag of where you want to take the films and the plot. That is how the Halloween films now feel to me.
You don't want to give your audience whiplash. End of story, don't watch this movie if you liked all the others.
After this movie, I don't want to buy it.
No.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to remember it.
I genuinely want to pretend that it ended with kills.
Me too.
Because, yeah, whatever, it's your headcanon. I don't care. My headcanon is 1,000 times better than the actual canon.
This movie shouldn't have happened. It was absolute throw up on the side of the road.
I feel like every Blu-ray copy of this movie and it should be in the bottom of a wood chipper instead of Michael Myers' body. And by the way, that was like the ultimate fuck you to everyone was... No, he's dead, but he's not dead enough. And, like, they parade him around town and then put him through a wood chipper or a grinder or whatever you want to call it, a press.
And then Laurie keeps his mask as a trophy.
And Allison just leaves to go who knows where on her own.
Oh.
And Laurie's just left alone. Michael's dead.
They threw out all the interesting concepts of, like, Corey killing people that were mean to Allison because he loved her. You know, I thought that was really interesting, too, is him trying to get Michael to kill all of these people who were mean to Allison in one way or another.
Yeah.
Because he loved her so much and because he was fucking crazy. And then they threw it out.
They threw it all out. I hated the movie. I don't know what else to say. I just hated it. I think I'm done.
I'm done too. I'm very sad and disappointed.
If you enjoyed the movie, let us know why.
Why?
Or what you liked.
What did you like about it, though? Like,
I'm not trying to be a dick. Like, if you liked the movie, I'm happy for you. I wish I liked the movie.
Was there any part that was satisfying at all for you other than the sex scene, which didn't all you really got to see was like a little bit of Allison's chest. You didn't see much of anything.
No, that's true.
Like, was there anything else that was satisfying from that?
As bad as the Friday the 13th movies often were, even though they're really fun, I always walked away from them, except for 5. 5 sucked, and this feels like it took elements from 5 too, by the way, of that. I always walked away and I said, I had a fun time. I had a fun time. All the way up till the end of 6. After that, I didn't. But I had a fun time. And I don't need that much. I'm not that critical. And I hated it. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. We appreciate you very much. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shway.